Find what that spark is for you, and then find a mentor that excels in that. I always have a mentor because you can't just grow on your own. Learn from them. I thought maybe I wanted to go into nursing or physical therapy or dietetics. We spend so much time in our career, whatever it is, you're going to be bringing your family into your business.
Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I am so stoked. We have Sarah Goode. She is the owner of Enchānt, which is a hair styling. She mostly specializes in extensions, a very specific style of extensions. I'll let her talk about that. It's called blend. And not just putting in extensions, but also like blending the cut and the color to make it match perfectly, I think, which is something that I love about you, is you have this attention to detail that not a lot of other people I have ever met in business have, which is part of why I wanted to have you on. So Sarah she's an absolute boss. I've known her for quite a few years now. I've watched her business transition from working other places to doing her own thing, to doing like exactly what she loves, growing a following on social media, growing a huge business. And one of the most special things that you guys got to know about Sarah before I let her take it away and introduce herself is that she is a student who has like this crazy level of discipline, attention to detail, and she operates by a certain level of standards, which I think is part of what I love about your business model. Is like you can charge the most because you're the best, and I think you take particular care and pay attention of like all the little details that would allow somebody to have an exceptional experience. So to say that I am honored that you are here and so grateful for the time and all the, I don't know, whatever 4 or 5 years that we spent together doing the chiropractic part, which we don't even need to talk about today. I'm just so glad that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, super stoked. So I'm going to have you dive in. And this is the part that I selfishly want to know is like, give us your backstory, because we don't get to talk a lot about this when we're adjusting. But like, give us your backstory up to, I know you were a stylist in Chicago and then moved out to Encinitas, had your own thing there. And then you're kind of doing all three in Orange County, Encinitas, and then also in Chicago as well. But give us kind of like your backstory, what got you in, because I know you've been a stylist for a super long time. But like, yeah, just kind of give us the story of bring us up to speed of what got you here to having your own studio in Laguna Beach, right on the beach, beautiful office that my wife loves to go to.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's crazy how it's all just come to this. I started in Chicago, and You're from the Midwest too, and it's a great place, great people. But from the time I was a small child, I knew I belonged by the ocean. I knew I belonged by the water.
Yeah.
My family took us on a trip to Florida. I thought it was great. And then the first time I put my toes in the sand at La Jolla Shores, I was like, this is it. I am home. I don't know where, I don't know when, I don't know how, but I will make it here. And then years later, I moved out here with partner at the time and settled down in Encinitas. It was such a great town. Really blended like the whole balance of healthy living and lifestyle, and what a great surf town. And I was able to grow my business some more.
So cool.
Yeah.
And then what brought you to Orange County?
So I met my husband, and I had no intention of moving to Orange County. I thought I was going to stay in Encinitas for the rest of my life, but I met this amazing man. His business was in Long Beach at the time, and Dana Point was as far south as he could go. So, you know, like you'll do a lot of things for love, and I actually ended up falling in love with Orange County.
Yeah, for sure. It's so great here. And then to just see your business thrive, and you guys are like us, where we just kind of like live in the bubble and just love everything about this place is so special. Live in the same neighborhood now, by the way, which is a whole other thing. So let's transition like a little bit into the business side of things. I'm curious to know. So, and like I said, one of the things I love about you is I have kind of seen this like unrelenting attention to detail in all things. Like I could say fashion and the way that you dress, like you're always just like dialed in perfectly. So a part of that I think comes back to standards. So like when we talk about business, because I don't think many, and mostly entrepreneurs are probably listening to this, chiros, but I think they'll benefit from somebody who thinks about pricing a little bit differently. But before we get into the pricing conversation, like give me your take on standards. Like what are, and especially in work, in your business, I always want to say practice, but business, what are like your non-negotiable standards where you're like, this is where I draw the line of things that have to be perfect and exceptional?
Well, for me, I feel like my business and your business too, things are constantly evolving, whether it's just the way we present ourselves on social media,
Yep.
down to the building blocks of what we do, different methods of cutting hair, different methods of seeing hair, different methods of installing hair extensions, coloring it. It goes back down to the basics, but then it evolves and it turns into something new and different. And it's what keeps me excited. I've been doing this for over 20 years. And thanks to you, I have a healthy body. I can stand on my feet, where many hairstylists are ready to retire around the age of 50.
Yep.
I'll be 48 this year, and I am going strong. So between having a healthy body and having this curiosity and wanting to learn, wanting to grow, wanting to be able to provide my guests with the absolute best is what has me keep going, and then also learning and diving into new things and new areas and just reassessing the way I'm doing things.
So cool. I love that, like, constant. I think people just get stuck where they feel like, oh, this is it. And then that's when they kind of burn out. So that just continual, I want to learn more. I want to get better at my craft, which is what anybody who is exceptional, you being one of those people, I think really, 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 really show off all the time. And I'm curious to know, so not only do you have a business, well, you have another part of the business too, which is also teaching other stylists how to do your specific technique, which is blend, right? So you're also teaching. Speak a little bit to that and like what that's like and what's different about blend, because I think it gets into this idea of standards as well, from my understanding of it. So I'd love to just to speak a little bit about, like, tell us what blend is, why it's different, and then get into, like, because I think that'll get us into some of the details of it too.
Okay, sure, absolutely. There are so many different methods of hair extensions out there, but none of them are diving so deeply into the art of cutting them.
Yep.
And I started out in the industry as a hair cutting specialist, so that came easy for me.
Yeah.
Then I learned how to do extensions, and I wasn't seeing much that got this detailed into that art of it. So just seeing these extensions walking around, where when it was styled, it looked beautiful. But many of my clients are like me, as you know, we attract people,
Yep.
like attracts like. And not all my clients want to style their hair all the time. We live by the beach.
Yeah.
They want something more natural. They want something that moves with them, something that, you know, they can swim with, they can hike,
100%.
they can lift weights, whatever it is that they want to do and still look like their hair is natural.
Yeah.
So I found this missing link in the education, and I just wanted to help. I wanted to get this word out to other hairstylists that they can create something that looks natural too. And from there, I started teaching, I started educating, and then actually another patient of yours that has since moved away, she's a master at putting together programs and things like that. So I was able to put together a virtual program so that I could share it with hairstylists all across the world. And now I've got blend in multiple countries, the Netherlands, Italy, South America, Australia. I have students all over the world.
So
it's
special.
Pretty amazing.
So cool. I just love the growth, because none of that existed like when we first met. You know what I mean? I have a personal question, totally off of what I want to talk about, but I'm just curious to know, like, what was the hardest jump for you from doing extensions and then obviously being an expert at cutting and cutting them as well? What was the jump to teaching, like the hardest piece of that transition into teaching for you?
Okay, so I had actually taught back when I was in Chicago. I worked for a big salon, and I had educated on and off for them. So I was pretty good about sharing and inspiring students. But how do I get the word out there?
Yeah.
How do I let other people know that that's what I'm doing? So the marketing of it, and then technology is not my thing. So trying to get it uploaded. The first program I had a mentor of mine put together for me, and then I added a spinoff and I created it all myself, uploaded it, and did all the filming and everything. So I was pretty proud of myself for that.
So cool. So cool. I think, like, all right, if you're listening, I need people to catch this, and that is that, like, you're just a student of getting better and, like, learning new stuff and not stopping and not settling. What I think is so special, because so many people think, I see this a lot. It's like, we'll get a new chiro and they're like, well, I got my degree, like I got my doctorate and I got my license. So like now I should just be able to show up and do the same thing every day. And it's so cool to hear you say, because I don't think that way at all, but just this constant evolution of like, all right, you got to show up, you got to learn new stuff, you got to put new things together, creating new programs, creating new courses, learning the technology when you don't learn it. I love that. That's so cool. So cool.
Thank you.
So I'm curious, let's go back to Enchānt for a second. And I'm curious to know, like, when someone walks into your space, what do you want them to immediately feel when they step in?
I want them immediately to feel calm and like they belong.
Yeah. So good.
It's nothing. You're not on stage. You're not coming to a party. We are there for you.
Yeah.
And we want you to feel like you're going to be whisked away and feel confident about the way you look,
So
but then
good.
also be able to relax and have an hour or several, depending on what you're having done, where you can just completely relax and feel rejuvenated.
Yeah. Very cool. And how do you, like, if you don't mind sharing, these might be some like the secret sauce, but how do you get people to feel that? Like, what are specific things that you guys have implemented to make that happen?
Well, I have a boutique studio. So basically, we're all in separate rooms with beautiful lighting, a really nice view. So that way, the chatter, the noise that you typically get in hair salons is cut way, way down.
Yep.
It doesn't smell like a hair salon. We are low tox. Which
So
is really,
good.
really important to me for so many reasons. I don't want to poison myself or my customer, but smelling more essential oils when you're walking in the building creates a different feeling than, the smell of color and things like that.
So cool. So just all the environmental stuff.
All the environmental stuff, and then also the way that we treat people. We want to anticipate what would be comfortable, what would feel good for them before they ask for it. So I offer, because the appointments tend to run a little bit longer, we offer all kinds of healthy snacks for different diet types, like, whether you're paleo or vegan or, whatever it is. We also have clean alkaline water. We also have no mold coffee. Just things like that.
Yeah.
Yes. I just think it's so important because what you put in your body is going to affect the way you feel as well.
100%. Yep. That's so good. Again, the details, right? The details are like the most important things.
Yes.
So I just love it. I kind of want to transition just a little bit. So you create this environment that's like epic for people. And I know this well because my wife works with you and has for a long time now. And I've seen a little bit of the evolution of it, but I'm curious to know, like, how do you go as you raise prices to becoming like more of the most expensive? Because I think there's a lot of, especially chiropractors, I think business owners in general, there's like two camps. There are people who are worth what they could charge, but they're afraid to do it. And then there's like another camp that just thinks they can charge more without actually being better. So what's kind of the bridge for you of like having that confidence to be able to actually charge what you're worth and be, I almost want to say, like, unapologetic about it? So can you speak to that at all on like the pricing side?
Yeah, for sure. So number one, you have to feel it. You have to have the skills, you have to have the education, the knowledge, and people need to be basically feeling like they're getting what they're paying for.
Yeah.
But that comes down to numbers. So I've hired accountants and bookkeepers to keep a close eye on my numbers because numbers don't lie.
Yep.
So when I have enough of the clients coming in, the clients are coming in, I have the demand, I am booked, I'm getting good feedback on the services, everybody's happy with what they're receiving.
Yeah.
I'm getting more education, which the education is expensive.
Yep.
So when they plug all those numbers in between the demand and what I'm spending to run the business, that's where I get those numbers from. I'm not making them up. And if I was making them up, I wouldn't be confident in it. But when I have that behind me and I know what I need to charge to be able to continue to educate myself, to continue to go to classes and provide them the very best, that's where those numbers come from.
So good. I think that a lot of people, and I've even had to be reminded of this recently, is like part of charging more comes down to like, what are you continuing to add to the person who shows up for you instead of just like kind of randomly raising your fee. So I love that you have that almost like a formula built in where it's like, hey, this is what it costs for me to continue to stay educated and on the top of my game. And then that just reflects what people get, both in how they look and how they feel when they walk out of your salon, but also I think just in general. And then it gives you the confidence to know like, no, these are just my numbers and they're real. I'm not just making it up out of nowhere, which I think is super cool. And I've never heard that take on it before. So, and again, it goes back to like something that you kind of mentioned multiple times is like the continual like growth and education and learning and just being an absolute master at what you do, which is really, really cool. What, if you had to say there's like one thing, and this could be in business, it could be in the context of like extensions or maybe even cutting, what is one detail that you feel like people out there traditionally miss when it comes to focusing on details that really, really matter or creating like a breakthrough experience for somebody?
One of the things that definitely hits me the hardest is maintaining healthy hair.
Yep.
So if it's not healthy, it's not pretty.
Yeah.
If they're having a hard time managing it because it's dry or it's falling out or anything like that. So I continue to learn. I'm actually in a trichology class right now. So I can learn more about hair thinning, what causes it, so that I can amplify my business and create something for women that are experiencing that.
Yeah, so good. Is there any detail that you personally obsess over that other people would look from the outside and be like, she cares way too much about that thing?
Ooh, I would have to say the way that the hair lays, like the entire silhouette of it.
Gotcha.
From top to bottom, like looking at it as an art form.
Yeah.
And making sure everything is completely intact and completely blended.
So cool.
Yeah, I love that.
So cool. And you feel like most people overlook that piece of it?
I do. I think they don't always necessarily know what they're looking for. I think a trained eye can see it.
Sure.
I think maybe a customer wouldn't necessarily see it until they've had it.
Yeah.
Once they've had it, then they go, oh, okay, well, yeah, I could see how maybe that texture wasn't a perfect blend for me. Now that I know this is a perfect blend for me.
Yeah.
I think they realize it after the fact, not necessarily before. It could be overlooked.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I have another kind of like offshoot question. Where does your, and again, like I'm getting to know so much about you too. And like, just in this moment, if you could look back on your life and say, this is where I think all of my attention to detail came from. Like, do you feel like you were just born with it? Do you feel like it came from somewhere? Or is like there any pivotal moment in your life where you're like, that's the thing that changed my mind about just focusing on details, caring to learn more, always wanting to get better? Is there anything you can say that has contributed to that with you?
I think a lot of it comes from my own desire to be able to live my life freely where, yes, I'm a busy business owner, but I love the outdoors. I love surfing and I want to have it all. I want my hair to look good. I want to feel confident.
Yep.
When I'm coming here in front of your audience, I want to feel confident in the way I look, but I also want to save time so then I can go out and do the things that I love to do and not sacrifice the way that it looks. And I think by just constantly, living what I'm preaching to my clients and to other stylists out there, I'm able to raise the bar for the rest of us in my field. So good. Yeah.
Which is a key, I think, for everyone is like, we shouldn't just be raising our own bar, but raising the bar for people around us too. So I think that's super special that oftentimes people miss. I have one last follow-up question for you. Arguably the most important question. So that question is this, is that if there's somebody listening right now who is probably listening to you and being like, I need to step up my game, whether it's in chiropractic or some other business, or they're a stylist as well, or wanting to open their own business, doesn't matter where they're at. and they're listening and they're like, I need to step up my game, but they're scared to do so, what advice would you give them? Because I know you've had like transition from Chicago to California to Orange County. Like you've had some big transitions along the way, and I've watched all of it unfold with you to start Enchānt, which has been a really cool journey. So I'm curious to know, for those people who are like, I know I need to do the thing, but I'm really scared to do it, what advice would you give them?
I think find what that spark is for you, what it is that makes you excited, what makes you glow, and then find a mentor that excels in that. I always have a mentor. I have multiple mentors because you can't just grow on your own. So someone who's already doing that thing that gets your juices going, and then learn from them.
So good.
And you can't help but excel.
Yeah, for sure. I have one other question. I'm curious to know how did you find hair and it, like, you getting fired up about it? Like my dad always told me, he's like, you're lucky that you found chiropractic. I don't really feel like it's luck. I don't have to get into my opinions on it though. I'm curious for you, like, how did you find that thing that just got you absolutely juiced? Because some people are probably sitting making the excuse of like, well, I don't know what I'm excited about. So how'd you find it for you?
Well, I've been around hair my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
My mother was a very successful hair colorist and color educator.
Yeah.
And I was always kind of her little shadow growing up. So I ran from it.
Gotcha.
I thought maybe I wanted to go into nursing or physical therapy or dietetics or something like that. So which dietetics and nutrition is actually a hobby of mine.
Yeah, of
That's
course.
what I went to school for originally, University of Iowa.
Yep.
And then I couldn't get away from it anymore. It was something that when I put my hands in hair, and not just that, not just like the art of creating hair, but be able to make a difference in someone's life. So I had a clinical. I was a nursing student. We had our first clinical at the University of Iowa Hospital. We were going to learn how to draw blood.
Yeah.
And they purposely chose a terminally ill child to do this. And I took one look at him and I was like, this is not for me. I'm not scared of blood and guts and like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I am a very emotional person. And I'm not the type of person that could just like go about my day and not, I mean, I still think about that kid. So to be able to help people and to be able to change their day and be a day maker in a positive way, that I knew was for me, and that's where I changed my career and took off running.
So cool. And it shines through in literally like everything you do. I love that there's such a message in there too of like, you don't just have to go to nursing school or to like become a doctor or whatever the thing is. Like, I think we're told so many times that like the only way to help people is to do this one thing, but you incorporate all of those things like you're doing. We do clean water, we do clean food, we do people with dietary restrictions, and we create that experience, but in the context of hair, which is so special. So you still get to do both, which is amazing. And you cut it out and like crafted it in just such a perfect way. Anything else that you would leave people listening with before I have one final follow-up question for you, but anything else before we go to that?
I think we spend so much time in our career and growing our career you want to find something that you love, and whatever it is, it's something that you're going to be spending a lot of hours with. You're going to be bringing your family into your business.
Yep.
If you're doing something you love, you can't help but be successful.
Come on. So good. So do something you love.
Absolutely.
All right. For everybody listening, where can they find you? Where could they, if they wanted to get into contact with you? And I know you have assistants and all this stuff, so I'm not saying directly to get in contact with you, but like if people want to find more about your salon, if people want to find out more about your teaching programs, where can they go to do all the things?
Absolutely. I'm actually very easily accessible because I want to help people. My website is sarahaerialstylist.com and EnchāntExtensionStudios.com. Social media is great too. I'd say I'm most active on Instagram.
Yep.
So my handles are Sarah Aerial Stylist.
Yeah.
Also.
And I got to just give a plug because I watched Sarah grow her Instagram and she's an absolute boss at it. And I know who she learned from. So if you just want to go see an Instagram that's done well, just go check it out for that and that alone. Follow her because your content's awesome. And watching it, like I remember in the beginning days when you're like, I don't want to do the content and frustrated by it. And now it's like, I'm just watching it grow and it's so cool.
It's a learning experience.
Yep.
I've got a coach for that too. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Sarah, thank you so much for being here. Like I know your time is insanely valuable. So to sit and have this conversation and just to get to chat about business and life. And I just love that you have that kind of holistic approach to everything. It's like life should be fun. It shouldn't be all about work. It could be about balance and like living the outdoor. Obviously we live in this amazing place where we get to surf and go in the mountains and do all this stuff. But for you to take time away from any of that to sit with us, I'm just like truly, truly, truly from the bottom of my heart grateful for you. You're such a boss, such an inspiration to everybody, I think, who comes around, just in the way you carry yourself, your conversations. You're always happy. I've literally never heard you complain about anything one time, and just so grateful for the time today.
Well, thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Yep, you're the best. So that's it, fam. Sarah, go check her out on Insta. Check out her website. She's absolutely amazing. It's just somebody to follow if you want to learn the game of business done the right way and focusing on all the little tiny details that will change somebody's life. So go check it out. Peace.